Sheriff's Department, Debbie.
The mother and father have been shot.
They've been shot?
Yes. They're in the bedroom, ma'am. Please come.
This footage hides the most disturbing secret. It captures the last moments of Bird and Melanie Billings. 5 minutes before it was recorded, Bird and Melanie lived a happy life, surrounded by 13 adopted children whom they deeply cared about. They were what some would call a picture-perfect family. But on July 9, 2009, the family's life took a disturbing turn for the worse, when 7 armed men broke into their home.
An apparent robbery turned to murder in Beulah, Florida, west of Pensacola.
They were dressed in military garb. They used military-type weapons.
We felt like whoever did this knew exactly what they were doing and planned on doing.
They're only in the house about 4 minutes, and 2 people are dead.
Just absolutely senseless violence.
We were dealing with dangerous people.
The identity of these murderers would remain a mystery unless, by some miracle, the police could find them and put an end to their reign of terror.
They're a danger to the community because you don't know where they're going to strike next.
We fear for the safety and the lives of the kids.
They didn't know if they might be next targets.
It's 2009. Bird and Melanie Billings live a happy life in Pensacola, Florida. After getting married in 1993, Bird and Melanie began adopting kids. By 2009, their family grows to 16 children. 13 of them are adopted, many of which have special needs.
My mother felt like she could give a wonderful life to babies that had special needs, that she just felt that was her calling. And of course, my dad would do whatever she wanted, and he had that love for children also.
But on July 9th, the family's life takes a disturbing turn for the worse when police receive a horrifying 911 call from their neighbor.
Sheriff's Department, Debbie.
I live next door. The mother and father have been shot.
They've been shot?
Yes. Please come.
I'm trying to get somebody this. You said the mother and father both have been shot?
Yes. I gotta go over here with the children, but I don't know.
I don't want you to be in any danger, okay? I've got several officers on the way to you.
Hurry. I gotta go get the kids. There's kids in the house.
The caller on the line is April Spencer, a nurse who had helped part-time at Billings' home.
I was scared going next door, but I had to find out what was going on. I don't think those images will ever leave me.
Immediately after the 911 call, police cars are sent to the scene. When they arrive, they are horrified by what they see.
It was sort of surreal because they're carrying babies and toddlers and all different type of ages outside. Just that eeriness of how many kids were in that house and trying to get them out.
Nearly all patrol units from the district are present. It becomes apparent to detectives that they are facing something far more significant than usual. The door is kicked, showing signs of brute force entry. As most of the kids are nonverbal, it proves difficult to get any information out of them. After they are safely led away from the scene, detectives start going through the house. As they walk into the bedroom, they can see Bird and Melanie Billings lying dead on the floor.
They had been shot at point-blank range. It appeared to be an execution.
I mean, you know right away that you're dealing with either robbery or home invasion, something in that nature.
Detectives immediately start looking for any clues around the scene. However, their attempt proves not to be successful. All they manage to find are a couple of shell casings, but without the gun they belong to, they are useless.
Our greatest fear is the random killing. Those are the ones that almost always go unsolved, unfortunately.
Meanwhile, investigators visit the kids, trying to get some information. One of the kids, 10-year-old Jake, was in his parents' bedroom when they were murdered. However, Jake has Down syndrome and is under so much stress that he isn't able to answer their questions.
He was very, very shaken up. He had seen, everything.
It was just difficult knowing that they had seen this horrific type of stuff, and it was frustrating for us knowing that they couldn't help us solve it.
The police discover that one of the Billings children, 20-year-old Justin, is missing. Justin lives in a trailer on the family's property and has been in a dispute with his father. While the crime scene is still under investigation, they locate him on the Billings property. They bring him to the police station for questioning.
He was really, really nervous, acting really strange. At that time, we just got a vibe that maybe this kid could possibly be involved.
However, Justin has an alibi. He was hanging out with his friend Greg when he received a phone call from his sister, urging him to come to his parents' house. As detectives interrogate Justin, Billings' oldest daughter, Ashley, arrives at the scene. She tells detectives about the cameras inside the house, and they could tell the whole story of what happened to Bert and Melanie.
The reason they had the video system there was to keep an eye on all these special needs kids that they didn't hurt themselves.
The video was probably going to be the most important piece of evidence we had in this case.
Police technicians start gathering video footage from all the cameras. They hope it could give them the answers they are after. Over 16 hours after the crime, while the technicians are looking over the footage, investigators decide to revisit the scene. Although still emotional, Ashley joins them, trying to help them as much as possible. In the house, Ashley detects 2 items missing: her father's briefcase and a family safe.
Ashley told us that Bud carried a tremendous amount of cash around with him. He was known to have at least $100,000 in that black briefcase at all times.
This gives a possible motive behind the murder. In the meantime, the technicians look over all the footage and are shocked by what they see.
You see this red van pull up. You see these people jump out.
You had 5 individuals moving across the yard. They're all in complete black shoes, shirts, and masks. So they look like ninjas.
The robbers appear very professional, and their whole action looks prepared in military style. They act quickly, carrying military-type weapons. As they enter the house, Bert and Melanie put their hands up, fearing for their lives and the lives of their children. Immediately, one of the robbers shoots Bert twice, once in each leg. Following this, Bert and Melanie are taken to their bedroom, out of sight of the cameras.
Mr. Billings didn't have video in his bedroom, so we didn't see them being killed.
I think it's best described as a man's worst fear. Your home's invaded, you can't protect your family, your wife, your children, and you're helpless.
Once the robbers get what they want, they hop into their van and drive off. The whole incident takes less than 10 minutes.
We felt like whoever did this knew exactly what they were doing and planned on doing. They're sick people. They're mean, evil, even.
The best piece of evidence investigators have at the moment is the red van captured on the camera footage. If they locate the owners of these vehicles, it might bring them closer to a breakthrough. Lacking clear views of the license plates, the sheriff decides to seek public assistance by releasing images of the vehicles.
We got that video of the red van put out on media. I mean, right away.
We made sure that it was on every television screen in the local area, and so we had thousands of eyes looking for a red van.
As police are looking for the red van, Ashley takes the kids with her and decides to look after them.
That's a big responsibility, but those kids need someone that's close to them and that knows what they need.
Days go by without any new clues about the red van or the people inside it. The signs suggest a robbery gone wrong, but with a safe packed with cash left untouched and 2 bold murders, detectives start to suspect that something more significant is happening. As long as the robbers are not arrested, the kids' lives are in danger. With time passing by, the chances of catching the suspects are getting slimmer by the minute. But then, all of a sudden, police receive a phone call from a man who spotted the red van.
Somebody calls up and says, "Hey, I know this van. I once owned it and I sold it."
We did not know what to expect upon finding the van, who might be in the home.
The car belongs to an elderly man named Leonard Patrick Gonzalez. Despite the van being registered to Patrick, due to his bad health, police didn't think he could have pulled this off. However, they continue to press him, and finally, he breaks.
Patrick Gonzalez Sr. tells the police that, "Hey, I was just the driver."
You pull in the driveway, what happens?
Everybody jumps in, doors kicking open. Freeze on the ground. And that's all I thought it was. We get down in the yard and we're open up and everything's going fine. And all of a sudden, and I'm hoping they're just shooting in the ceiling or some kind of trying to scare the hell out of somebody.
Patrick tells detectives that the real mastermind behind this was his son, Patrick Gonzalez Jr. He informs them that his son has worked on a construction project inside the Billings house, so he was familiar with the layout and might have known where the money was stored.
He said his son kind of brought him into this. a father and son kind of escapade. You know, instead of going fishing, we're going to go commit a robbery.
We had a father implicating his son. We know that that's probably one of the weakest kinds of evidence.
Consequently, Gonzalez Sr. describes the moment when he was warned about a drug dealer, saying no one would care if this guy got robbed. Little did he know, Bird's and Melanie's lives would be taken away.
Senior tells us everything that happened, but he doesn't know all the names of the other guys. So now we're stuck with trying to figure out all these players and how to prove it.
Following this, Gonzalez Jr. is brought to the station for interrogation, trying to get him to confess. At the moment, Gonzalez Jr. doesn't know that the police know about his involvement.
Thursday, what were you doing?
That was the day that he got all pissed off at me, so.
Your dad did?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Because he gets to bed at like 6, and I got there a little bit later than what he wanted me to get there.
What'd you do after that?
I think I had a bird, chatted with him for a while. He's got some serious issues, so don't take anything he says to, you know, oh my God, this guy's a suspect, because he's just, you know, the guy's got brain damage, you know that. I mean, I don't know if y'all know that, you will know that he's got brain damage.
Patrick denies everything, even claiming that his dad is mentally unstable. Detectives suspect he is involved, but they need evidence to confirm it. They have enough grounds to hold Patrick Sr., but not enough to hold Jr., so the investigation continues as they seek more clues.
Gonzalez Jr. was arrogant, a very superior attitude, an attitude of I'm the smartest man in the room.
We gotta get enough evidence to prove his dad's story.
That includes doing a deep dive into Patrick Jr.'s background.
Following this, detectives try their best to connect Gonzalez Jr. to the Billings. Patrick has a past with a battery and assault charge. Having spent time in prison, he emerged as a highly skilled fighter, even participating in MMA. Determined to support his martial arts studio, he turned to Bird, seeking financial assistance. However, Bird ultimately didn't offer Patrick any help. This could have played a part in why this wasn't only a robbery, but also a murder. To back the detectives' claims, they managed to get a search warrant for his house.
The search warrant at Senior's house was incredibly huge. It helps tie things together.
At the house, detectives don't manage to find anything odd at first. However, as they continue looking, they find an empty shoebox.
So the shoebox is significant because the pattern on the bottom of those boots matched the pattern of the shoe prints found at the Billings house after the double murder.
I'm like, I think this shoebox probably came from Walmart. I bet we can take that to Walmart, you know, because their security is so excellent.
Immediately, the detectives rush to Walmart, hoping to find clues. They locate the surveillance video for the date and time stamped on a receipt found with the shoeboxes. The footage reveals Patrick Jr. alongside several men, whom the police suspect to be involved in the robbery.
We start getting excited. We feel like we're onto something and we may be starting to put this thing together. They were tied to Gonzalez Jr. through a mechanic shop. So he winds up talking them into going into this house and robbing it because this guy's got tons and tons of money in his safe.
Following this, police arrest Donnie Stallworth, Gary Sumner, Wayne Coldiron, Rakeem Florence, and Frederick Thornton. However, they still don't have enough evidence to put them behind bars. The safe and guns used in the robbery are nowhere to be found. As the detectives continue to push for answers, they find out about a woman who may know where the guns are.
Pamela Long Wiggins, she's blonde, she's a real estate agent, very successful, has a lot of money, and somehow she's involved with these ninja characters.
Pamela rented a house to Gonzalez Jr. in Florida. After the robbery, Patrick visited Pamela, after which Pamela vanished. However, police managed to track Pamela down just before she disappears on her yacht without a trace.
She was trying to leave and wound up locating her in a big yacht or boat that they had in Orange Beach, Alabama.
As Pamela is brought to the station for the interrogation, detectives receive a strange call. It's Pamela's husband, Hugh Wiggins. He wants to come clean about his wife and strike a deal, granting him immunity.
The first question we have is, where is the safe?
Do you want me to tell you or do you want me to take you to it?
I want you to tell me at this point.
Well, first of all, I don't know for a fact that it's there. I was just told that it was there.
Who told you?
Sam told me.
Following this, Pamela Wiggins faces charges as an accessory after the crime. The other members of the group face charges of murder and armed home invasion. In the meantime, two of the robbers, Frederick Thornton and Rakeem Florence, decide to come clean about what happened on the day of the murder.
I was scared, you know what I'm saying? So my mom came to me like, you just gotta break it down to him and tell him the truth.
They were the two individuals that entered through the laundry room and kitchen area, and they had been integrally involved in the robbery and the murder.
As detectives question them further, both of them accuse Patrick Gonzalez Jr. of pulling the trigger on the couple. They tell detectives they were just supposed to take the safe and be out in minutes.
Gonzalez Jr. told this tale of how we're going to rob these drug dealers and this bad guy, and there's millions and millions of dollars.
But everything goes south when Gonzalez Jr. decides to murder the Billings.
Like, I killed him. He was like, if any one of y'all say something, I'm gonna kill y'all and your family.
They tell detectives that Gonzalez Jr. promised everyone a share of the loot. The total amount was supposed to be approximately $13 million. After promising each member of the crew their part of the share, they prepared and trained professionally for 30 days straight. With prior military experience, Gonzalez makes sure everything is planned to the smallest detail.
Their involvement and confessions was the last domino that we needed to tip over to bring the rest of the dominoes down.
The video was the overwhelming piece of evidence that sealed the fate of all these folks.
Finally, with all the evidence, investigators can start preparing for the trial that awaits. During the trial, Patrick is given a chance to make a statement.
They also proved through expert testimony that the gun had 4 different persons' DNA on it, none of which belonged to me, the defendant. No testimony linked the gun to me, the defendant. The state never produced any evidence or testimony that the murder weapon had ever been in my custody or control.
On October 28, 2010, 15 months after the robbery, the jury reaches its decision regarding Gonzalez Jr.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Leonard Patrick Gonzalez Jr., guilty of first-degree murder as charged in the indictment. As to the charge in count 2, Melanie Billings, we, the jury, find the defendant, Leonard Patrick Gonzalez Jr., guilty of first-degree murder as charged in the indictment.
Along with Patrick, 6 other men face charges of first-degree murder and home invasion robbery, while an 8th suspect is accused of being an accessory after the crime. Together, they are found guilty as accomplices and given a total of 200 years in prison. On February 17, 2011, news broke that Gonzalez faces the death penalty for first-degree murder.
I do have a sense of closure because I feel like the person responsible for shooting my parents, for actually shooting them, is where he's supposed to be.
I just hope that one day that the kids grow up and they know that Melanie and Bud did love them